Hey guys, welcome back to my garden. So in keeping with my weekly tour, I'm going to take you through my garden and show you what's happening here. It's amazing how much things change in a week. I mean, things come into flower, things go out of flower, and despite the lack of rain that we've had and just it feels like soup out here. It's so humid. Things are thriving and some things are not so great, but I'm okay with that. I mean, for the most part, it's looking awesome. And I'm standing in my side yard garden right now, and it's phenomenal, and I can't wait to share it with you. So I'm going to flip the screen around and take you for a tour of everything that's happening right now. Before I flip it around, I want to tell you a little bit about these daylilies. So this is the sidewalk that passes right in front of my house. This is the side yard garden here. And I've lined a few, around the back of my green spire crab apples is a few different daylilies. I actually happen to love daylilies. So whether you're team daylily or not, I love them in the garden, just certain varieties. And these have been with me for a very long time. I have two varieties here. And when you're thinking about daylilies, they are, there's all kinds of varieties. They bloom at different times of the year. So you might have an early blooming, early mid-season, mid-late, late season. Keep that in mind. So if you're thinking about succession of bloom, look at when you're ordering from Oaks Daylilies or wherever you choose to order from, look at the bloom time so you can kind of coordinate that. And when I was picking these two varieties here and mixing them, I was thinking about, they're mid-season bloomers, so they just came into bloom, and they play off the color of each other. So this is Egyptian spice, this is cherry cheeks, and cherry cheeks has this kind of cantaloupe melon throat color, and the Egyptian spice is that color. So planted together and they bloom at the same time, they play off each other. So I did a photo shoot years ago for This Old House magazine for a garden that was, believe it or not, all daylilies, and it was in flower for just about the entire summer because the homeowner and the garden designer had chosen daylilies that had bloomed at different times during the growing season. So he was really into daylilies, obviously. I wouldn't say I'm really into daylilies, but I do appreciate certain varieties, and Egyptian spice and cherry cheeks, I have a soft place in my heart for them. I love them. So I have them planted around the backside here. And then my Magnus coneflower is about the most reliable coneflower. I've been burned so many times in my garden with these new varieties of coneflower, but Magnus and White Swan just keep it coming. Pollinators love them, and you can't go wrong. So that's Magnus coneflower. Now I'm going to flip it around and give you the tour of what's happening in the side yard and take you through all the interesting things that are happening elsewhere too. So this is the sidewalk here looking into my side yard garden. And it's hard to believe that I put this in August of 2023, and this is what we have so far. So here's Magnus, always has pollinators on it. I love this coneflower, and it's just so reliable. So that's Magnus coneflower, and look at the crab apples on this beautiful green spire crab from First Edition Shrubs and Trees. Love this tree. So if you remember, I did a video on them, and I've got 3 on the corner here, and I'm thinking of it as a window, kind of offering a view into the space without obscuring it, which is what I wanted to do for the side yard. And then looking in this way is some Datura. This is Ballerina Purple, but look at the seed pods. They are the gnarliest looking seed pods on this plant, when the flowers drop. So let me find a flower for you. You might have seen it in last week's video too. Look at the flower, you guys. So frilly looking, so poisonous, but this is the seed head here. And it's just the weirdest looking thing. It's very alien looking. And then my Diamond Rouge hydrangea. I love this hydrangea. It's a paniculata form, and full sun, I think it's like 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. But I like this variety because it's more of a lace cap. So the fertile flowers here are very pollinator friendly. So I really love this hydrangea for that reason. And then the sterile flowers are on the outside. But I just love that looser habit. Not a huge fan of the very cone-shaped panicle hydrangeas. I just like that looser, more natural look of, ooh, what'd I step on? Whoops. I just love the more natural, looser habit on the lace cap hydrangeas. And then coming around this way, my Goldsturm, or no, actually this is not Goldsturm, this is Gold Rush. American Gold Rush Rebecca is just about to flower. And this is doing wonderfully. And then I've got some Cobalt Liatris in there and some Agastache. And then I'm gonna come around this way, and my 7 cent, look at that view, you guys. So that is the side yard garden. I am amazed. I'm in love with this space. I can't stop walking through it. I've got people coming to visit, walking by all the time. just to see the progress on this, and it's just going for it. So the Spiralis here is fluffing up, looking gorgeous, and then look at all these flower heads on the Tianjin 7 sunflower. So what's nice about Tianjin, this is another one from First Edition Shrubs and Trees. 7 sunflower it seems like it has 2 seasons of bloom. So these will flush out with white blooms, and then when the blooms fade out, the sepals that are left behind are red, and those will come on in like August, September, and it looks like the plant is in flower once again. Just an elegant tree. I love that has peeling bark on it too, and that'll be more visible as the plant gets bigger, but it has grown considerably. So let's move in this way. So more of the Magnus cones, and then my Millennium Allium are just starting to come on. And this is one of the worst spaces in my garden because it is hot and dry right off the driveway. And these plants here, I've got Autumn Joy Sedum, there's some Goldstrom Rudbeckia in there, the Allium, Magnus cones, and then this is, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name of this one. This is a perennial hibiscus, and evening rose, I can't remember, but that should be flowering soon. But then looking this way, you can see my double scoop cone flowers here. I need to deadhead, so you can see, got to get rid of these guys. But look at these flowers. They're the coolest things, and they've been reliable. I've had them in the garden for a couple years now, and they keep coming back. I have 2 different varieties of the double scoops. I've got I think this one's watermelon, and then coming this way, I've got raspberry, and I think my favorite is the raspberry. But let me back up and look at the dahlias are coming on. I love single dahlias. I've got HS Date in there, and I've got HS Love, maybe Kiss, I can't remember for sure. But they're coming on. And then this cactus variety coneflower is one called Senorita, and they're just starting to open. Lots of color, which is what I like. I love color in the garden. I just love it to look slightly wild, and I think I'm achieving that. So let's come this way. Now the Dumbo's ears are Rudbeckia maxima. Look at the foliage on that. And then the cones are huge. Pollinator magnet, you guys. And then I've got Verbena bonariensis that's just coming up everywhere, which is another great see-through plant. And I just let it do its thing. I tear it out if I don't want it in certain spots, but for the most part, I just don't think there's a bad place for it. And then this here is Bleeding Heart Heliopsis, and been flowering, you guys, for weeks, seriously. I mean, and then just behind that is Sensational Honeysuckle, that I cannot wait for it to climb this pillar. And the fragrance is beautiful, especially at night. So then directly in front of it, I've got some more of the Monarch Magic Ageratum. And then this is a Eupatorium, and it's called something else now, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's a smaller form, so I've got it in the front of the border, which I feel is perfect for this space because it's one called Euphoria, and it's a Joe Pye weed, and the flowers are just about to open. Very pollinator friendly, and I've paired it with the Iceberg Alley Pussy Willow. And then coming around this way, now you're gonna see a lot of these stalks coming up. That is Amaranth, and it's a variety called Red Spike, and I think I've got Coral Fountain in here as well. Yeah, I do. So I let those seed freely too. I mean, those guys just drop seed, and I've got some tall ones coming up back here. I think that one's Coral Fountain, the Red Spike, and if I don't want them in certain places, I just pull them out. But it looks like I planned these 2 around the Rugosa roses, but I didn't. I think they look nice there. And then more of the Magnus coneflower toward the back. And look at the Lottie's Love Rugosas they're flowering again. I've got lots of bumbles here. It's early in the morning, so the bumbles are out. The pollinators are just starting to come out. And then this way, the Puppy Love Pennisetum, that thing just really goes for it. And I have to show you this phlox, you guys. So I showed you this last week that I have to deadhead. That is the Stokes Aster, the Totally Stoked Riptide from Proven Winners, and need to deadhead that. And this coneflower, I wish I could remember the name of that, but that orange, it is so stunning. And then the Touch of Blush Heliopsis. And then I need to deadhead my Skyward Pink Veronicas too, but the bumbles are loving it right now. But look at this phlox, you guys. So this is Luminary Opalescence from Proven Winners. Look at that flower, and it's so fragrant. Last night it smelled so pretty. I was walking through with my daughter, and sorry, my neighbor's rolling out their garbage cans. It's garbage day. But this one is just so happy here, and just so full and lush. And then, wait, there's more. Let's see, what else can I show you? Oh, and because I was a Sesame Street kid, there's another daylily that I love. This is Big Bird. Look at the flowers on Big Bird. And I think I need to move Big Bird because it's not as big as it used to be. It's good to divide them every several years, but it's underneath my Elizabeth Magnolia, and I just don't think it gets the amount of sun that it needs. But it's still flowering really nice. I mean, the flowers are, look how big the flower is, and they're fragrant. So really a nice daylily. Still have to plant my flowerfuls. I haven't gotten to that. But let's go this way. All of the seed heads on my breadseed poppies. Let's see how they, can't hear them shaking yet. Now, one of the things I need to take care of is this clump here. So this is an anemone. This is Honorine Joubert. I love Honorine Joubert. However, it spreads by rhizomes, and if it really likes where it's at, it spreads prolifically. So it's swallowing up a lot of stuff in here. It's swallowing up an allium, some silver gumdrop heuchera. I've got them kind of lined all in here. So I need to take that out, do some editing, and clean this up a little bit. And then back here, a couple years ago, I did a video when I planted this Haas Halo hydrangea. And he is just, or she, whatever, is just melting out. It flopped. And what happens with that is if it's not getting enough light, it can flop for a few different reasons. The situation with this is it's not getting enough light. There's an arborvitae here, and then it got bigger, and then my Northwind, the Northwind maple behind it over here filled in all that light. So this guy is just so hungry for light. So I'm gonna dig that one out and replace it with something else. I'm not sure what yet, but look at the burn on the Seducer hosta. All of these things can be tidied up though. You can cut out those leaves and clean things up. And then my Munstead wood rose is getting ready to flush out with flowers again. My favorite, I love that rose. But let's go toward the backyard. I've done a lot of work back here, just trying to get things situated. And my banana plant, look at how much bigger it's gotten. It's huge. But in this area here, so if you remember last week, the ligularia, this is Britt Marie Crawford, and it was totally melted out, laying on the ground, and it's recovered, and I've just kept it watered. And then I've done some dividing. I moved a foxglove over here, divided up some of my pink profusion salvias here, and then moved some hens and chicks over here. But this is where I'm going to put that Haas Halo hydrangea. So I'm going to move over the thalictrum a little bit, and the Haas Halo is going to go here right next to the smoke bush. And I think that that'll be a really pretty combination. And then this is just getting worse and worse looking. Look at all the dead up here, the pussy willow. Those are going to be coming out in the next month or two. My neighbor gave me flagstone. They're having their patio redone, and they weren't using the flagstone, weren't going to reuse the flagstone. So I scored these for free. And right now I've been in the process of, I know these pussy willows are coming out. So I've been moving things around because I'm going to be doing a lot back here, not this year, but next year I have big plans for it. So what I've been working on is moving out plants that I know I definitely want to keep. And one of them is Diamond Lake hosta back here. This is so overgrown. I've got Creeping Charlie coming out of my ears. But the Diamond Lake hosta has to come out. I'm going to relocate that to over this area here. Sorry, I'm spinning you around so much. But it's going to come back here with the Sum and Substance hosta. I'm really going for foliage, leaf shape and color and foliage, not so much flowers back here. The Feather Falls Carex is coming on, and the Eclipse Hydrangea Mac is really happy here. But let me take you this way. Sorry, I was working last night too, so I don't always clean up my tools. I just kind of throw in the towel and just leave everything where it's at. And I want to show you, if you remember this past winter, late winter, I planted dahlias from seed. And I have to show you this because this is one of them. Look at this gorgeous red dahlia. It is so pretty. So that's the first one to flower from the seeds that Sarah Berkeley sent me. And they are so robust. The plant themselves, I mean, I've got a couple different varieties here, but look at how healthy the foliage is. And then I've got some hybrid varieties here. This is Thomas Edison in here. He has to be deadheaded. There's a big flower kind of buried deep inside. This one here is not looking so great, but the salvia is happy and the petunias are going for it. They're really happy. And then this is the Canova bronze coral. I love cannas, and this is a really nice one for the garden. And despite their reputation for being water hogs, I don't find it to be so. I water it when I remember to water it, and it's plenty happy here and it's full sun. But last week I also cut back the boom chocolata geraniums. You guys, look at the perfect little tufts they form. They looked so ratty, and then they come back and look like this every single year. Great, great plant. And then the Matrona sedum will be coming on in a few months. And this little area here, I showed you that last year. That's the drops of Jupiter. That's coming into flower finally. And the ageratum, the monarch magic, constant monarch, lives up to its name, as I mentioned last week. Look at this dahlia, and I'm not remembering the name of it at the moment. Let me see, do I have a tag down here? I know I left tags in here. Where are you? Well, I'll have to put this up on the screen when I figure out what that is, but look at how frilly that is. And then the Sunseeker salmon coneflower is looking nice. Some salvia. All right, let's head around the back. You saw all this last week. That is the double yellow Sunfinity sunflowers. Oh, look at that. See what I mean, you guys? The pollinators love these plants, which is one of the things I think about when I'm picking plants. I want this to be, a happy place for pollinators and for me, and something that's low maintenance. This is extremely low maintenance. I could go in and deadhead these flowers, and I do that occasionally, but they are about as low maintenance as they come, truly. I mean, you really don't have to do much to keep these guys going. Let's come around this way. Oh, and then this, my rattlesnake master, this has all kinds of pollinators on it all the time. Look at that interesting flower. Really a neat plant. And then I am super stoked about this hydrangea. So remember earlier in the video I talked about in the Sideyard garden that Diamond Rouge panicle hydrangea, and it was a lace cap form. This is another one I found a couple days ago. This is Quickfire. It's been in the market for many, many years. It was covered in pollinators at the garden center, and I've always wanted one for the garden. So I've got another panicle hydrangea back here. Let's see. And like I said, I don't really care. I forget what variety that is. I don't really care for the cone-shaped hydrangeas. I like the looser habit of the lace cap varieties. But I thought this, planted next to my sambucus or the black lace elderberry, look at that. So imagine that right there. So gorgeous. And then my Salome Double Classic, another one of my favorite daylilies, extremely fragrant, long flowering. And then this vegetable garden. Let me take you around this side and show you this current situation with the pumpkin. Look at that. So last week it was looking like it was, trying to take over. And this week it is definitely taking over. Look at that. And then there's just loads of flowers. And I did see a few with some little tiny fruits. I thought, gotta have a lot of male flowers. Well, once again, I'd have to do a little hunting, I think, to find the fruits. But anyway, and then just beyond that is the zucchini. So, if you're growing any type of squash and pumpkins, they are going to take over your garden. And then there's a bee. Bees love these squash blossoms. All right, let's go around this way to the front of the house, or to the side over here. Look at this Rose of Sharon, you guys. This is pink chiffon. Sorry about the hoses. I kind of just leave things out and forget about them, and I hate dragging hoses around, so it just stays out inaccessible because this time of year I have to water some of the containers on the patio. With the southern exposure, they dry out fast. But I want to show you this guy. So this is pink chiffon. And I think that these are, underused in the garden. I know that sometimes they can be extremely seedy. There are certain varieties that are more seedier than others, but this one is one of my favorites, and it's so blousy. This is from Proven Winners and very pollinator friendly, long blooming. Look at that flower. And it's covered. So sweet. And you guys, I think my all-time favorite dahlia, for right now at least, is this one here. This is David. Look at that black foliage. It is nearly black. And those flowers, the flowers are just gorgeous. And they just keep coming. And then I've got some more, I can't bring myself to, every year, this common milkweed comes up between these pavers, and I can't bring myself to take it out. I've got monarchs back here all the time, and I'm always worried that if I cut it out, I'm gonna, lose some monarch eggs, and they're just starting to open. The flowers are. It's pretty, but it's kind of weird having it right there, I know. And then the more of the wave petunias filling in, and the hostas here. These are my favorite hosta. These are Earth Angel hostas, and because of the viburnum trifolium, the red wing viburnum, it's not providing any shade, so these guys are just getting scorched. So anyway, that's life. And then the succulent container is just looking so happy. I need to push some of this back actually so it's not overgrowing. I cannot get over the perennial hibiscus here. It's just growing like crazy right now. Growing better than it ever did actually. And then coming this way, there's another phlox in here. This is luminary sunset coral right in here from another Proven Winners introduction. And depending on the light, it changes. Like earlier, like last night, it looked more coral. This looks more pink, I guess. And I've got some dahlias coming in here. This is really pretty. Let me pull this toward the camera a little bit. Look at the color variation in that. So cute. And then my sea holly, I'm not liking where this is. I grew this, I winter sowed this several years ago and plunked this here. I'm not caring for its location. It's just kind of swallowing up everything. So I need to rethink that. And then the coleus is looking nice and happy here. So let's go to the front yard garden. Where I have a lot of things going on. Not much changed in here. The mountain mint is looking great. Lots of pollinators on that, especially at night. I mean, it's just covered. I'm gonna take chunks of that and move it around as well. Now I am in a growing competition for Thai giant elephant ear. And when I received this guy, he was broken. The leaves that were on it were just so damaged and I really didn't have much hope for it. And look at this. This thing is getting huge. It is amazing. Look at that. In comparison to my hand, that's a big leaf. And then I've got a new leaf coming on it. So I might, this might be a contender for the biggest Thai giant elephant ear. And then let's go down this way. The flower fulls still aren't in, you guys. And front yard garden is looking nice. And I want to show you another echinacea that was sent to me by my friend Brad over at Garden Evolution. This is Pink Poodle. Look at that. My daughter came out last night and she's like, Mom, that's my favorite. It's so wild looking. Really a cool plant. And then just beyond it back here is another phlox. That's that luminary opalescent from Proven Winners. So just has a little bit lighter color on it because it's in the dry shade. I mean, more shade than the other one, obviously. The other one is full sun. This one is contending with the maple here. This is autumn blaze maple, and this area here is my most challenging space. It's so dry. The maple tree just sucks up all the moisture, so I'm constantly experimenting with plants, and this is what's working so far. However, the Invincibelle lace hydrangea, which is right back here, this has been here for maybe 3 years, something like that. I did a video on it a while ago. They're living, but they're not thriving. So the shade is just too dense. It's too dry. I'm having to provide supplemental watering. And I should have known that, but live and learn. You have this idea and you're imagining something that probably isn't going to work out, but you have it in your head that, oh, it's going to look great there, until you do it and you realize that maybe not so much. But these should be big, big flower heads with Fertile flowers, this is a lace cap smooth hydrangea arborescens. These should be quite big now, but it's just such a challenging spot. And let me come around this way. And Earth Angel's looking good here. This one's looking great. And I've got 2 more just beyond that. So happy with how that's turning out. And then some sedum in here. And that is my garden, you guys. That's what's going on today. Oh, and I have several nests. So in my bluebird box, I have a little wren. Look at this. He just packed it. I don't want to get too close. He just packed it with sticks. And that's my garden this week, you guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really appreciate you stopping by and taking the tour with me. And I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.